Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Richest Men in Town podcast. I'm Mike Freeman, and along with my good friend and co-host Tyler Gould, we're excited to welcome you to our little podcast project. Tyler and I are just a couple of middle-aged husbands and dads driven to live our best lives. We want to be better every day, so here we'll be sitting down with great people. Not famous people, but great people that we admire, to learn their secret to living the rich life. Probably not the rich life you're thinking of. Our guests come in humbled and surprised at the invitation and hopefully leave feeling proud and grateful, realizing just how good they really have it. So pull up a chair, stay a while, and raise a glass with us as we toast our guests to the richest men in town. Still no Olympic love.
You know what, man? Honestly, I've had no time, man. If I have a little bit of time, I'll generally watch a Dodger game. And I just haven't had a ton of time because the Olympics are on funky times, dude. Right?
They're on all night.
I know. Like, I'm in bed by 10 o'clock, man.
Oh, no. Yeah, we're burning it. We're going to bed at like 11:30 and stuff.
Yeah.
Abe Freeman pulled his first all-nighter.
Oh, man, those are the days.
Yeah, he's got a senior year bucket list, and an all-nighter was on there, and all of a sudden there's a kid, one of his friends comes over, right?
Yeah.
And Kelly says, yeah, we're having a sleepover. I'm like, do we do sleepovers like seniors?
Hey,
and I get up at 5 a.m. and they're still up.
Like, so going strong, still up?
Yeah, I poked my head in there. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, man, we didn't sleep. We Taco Bell all over the place, video games, right?
I like it.
And I was like, well, here's the deal. Kelly's probably going to come in here and give you a little lecture. I'm just going to tell you right now, you did an all-nighter to hang out with a bro, right? I mean, you're going to do an all-nighter. That thing's got to be, you got to turn the volume up. That thing's got to be epic so that when you're suffering at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to be able to think back on what you did and be like, worth it, right? I need campfire. I need someone maybe of the opposite sex.
I don't know, man. Like, I
look,
I understand 100% what you're saying, but I'm just, as you're saying it, I'm like the few times that I probably pulled an all-nighter when I was probably Abe's age, yeah, there was not. It sort of reminds me of like when I was like, 15, 16. This is probably not PC anymore, but when we'd get ready to go out on a Friday night, and we'd be like, what do you guys want to do tonight? And everybody would be like, we're gonna get chicks tonight, man. And then it'd just be like 5 dudes rolling around with no chicks. You know what I mean? I was like, that's always how it played out. So I'm sure every all-nighter that I had planned that happened was just skateboarding and probably video games. I don't know.
But you remember the potential of that Friday night? You know that feeling?
Oh yeah. Every Friday night was like a clean slate.
Boys, something magical is going to happen.
Yeah.
And you have no game. Right. You have no ride. You have no money. It's just like, we're going to find chicks that dig broke people.
Yeah. Broke. Very, 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 very little prospects of money.
Yeah. Like, hey, Mike, weren't you wearing that shirt yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't sweat.
You dig it. You dig it. Hey, Mike, why is your shirt inside out? Oh, so I can wear it twice as long.
Well, so I think it's funny because as you say, well, Abe, you kind of wasted an all-nighter with just your bros. But I think literally every all-nighter I've ever done was with my bros. and it always started out like there was something else was going to happen, but it never did, So I just think that's a teenage thing, right? It's like kind of big talk. You got these big ideas like you're going to, climb to the top of a peak and look at the full moon and bark like a chicken or something, and you end up like sleeping it off in the Taco Bell parking lot.
Here's my favorite
burrito in your lap.
Here's my favorite, right? Because Abe he's got student government, so he's helping with orientation. He's got to be there at 7:30. He's rolling right from that. He's got a midday golf with some friends, and then he's got work. Right?
Yeah.
You go to his buddy and be like, "What do you got today?" He's like, "I got nothing. I'm going to orientation, and then I'm going to go to IHOP, stuff my belly, and then I'm going to go draw the blinds and sleep all day.
Yeah, exactly. And wake
Like,
up at
that's not quite equitable, right? Because then the bud is, come 9 o'clock, he's calling up Abe like, let's roll again. And
yeah,
like,
and Abe's like
out.
physically sick from lack of sleep. Yeah,
I'm out.
that's good times, man.
To be young.
Yeah, I root for Abe and all of his young ventures. I like it.
So Tyler Gould, we're going to mix it up. We're going to make it a little different tonight on the Richest Men in Town. From time to time, we hang out. Kind of make sense of some things, and not that doesn't work. I enjoy chatting with you. I enjoy every chance we can hang out.
Yeah.
But what are we doing tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to bring in a couple friends that are veterans of the show, that have been on the show, and just catch up with them, see what's going on in life, and see if they can impart some wisdom on us tonight. And hey, and on top of that, we've got a young Nolan Jenson who's going to join us.
Nolan Jenson,
right? He's a young man who's got some exciting things coming up in his life, so we thought we'd bring him on and let him in on the RMIT roundtable and just chit chat with us,
Yeah, Nolan's the kind of kid that every time I run into him, he's like, "When can I get on the podcast?" And it's like, "Well, you're younger. This will be our youngest guest ever.
Yeah,
but we're gonna honor Mr. Rick Crowley. Last week, Mr. Rick was talking to us about listening, about asking the right questions." And then one of the silver bullets that he gave us was like, man, all of these things that we've been talking about, the youth need this.
Yeah. And he talked about the wisdom of youth, I think, a little bit. And you and I believe in that. And so it'll be fun. I'm excited to meet Nolan and just hear what he's all about and what he's got going on in life.
But are we ready for a disclaimer, right? We're ready for a typical Richest Men in Town podcast disclaimer. We really don't know what we're doing tonight.
No, tonight is fly by the seat of your pants, man. But it'll be fun, and we got some good people joining us. So
yeah, you can't go wrong with good people, right? It's kind of like cooking. I don't know anything about cooking, but you got good ingredients, stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah, amen. I agree. So we've got Dr. Chad Richards, who will be joining us in a little bit, right? I think last time we spoke with Chad Richards, he was not yet. He was officially doctor.
No, he was hustling, remember?
Yeah, he was in the middle of the hustle. So he's found a destination and he and his family.
Yeah, he was going to med school, interviewing, and then that whole matching process happened.
Yeah, like tryouts almost. Pretty wild, man.
And boom.
Yeah.
He's landed somewhere. So it'll be exciting to hear a little bit about where he's landed and what that looks like. I know he's crazy busy. First year residency. So super appreciative of the time he's going to give us tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And then we got Sergio
Carzoli.
Yeah.
So Sergio Carzoli is coming to us from episode 25, Tyler.
25. Wow.
Right. We're in the 60s now, brother.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy, man.
And it's so, Sergio, episode 25, winning the right way.
Yeah.
Sergio's got to be an Olympic fan, right? I mean, because he was a wrestler, he was a triathlete, right?
Yeah, I would imagine Sergio is an Olympics fan for sure. So
we'll see. I'm desperately looking for a fan of The Bachelorette.
Yeah, I don't know where you're gonna find him.
Man, I got stuff I need to talk about.
I appreciate your zeal for that show. I've just never seen it. I don't know, man.
Oh man, some stuff went down last night, and no one. I can't talk to coworkers aren't even on this thing.
Man, no one. So someone got voted off the island last night.
Hearts actually literally got broken last night, Tyler.
Was your heart one of them?
No, but I felt for some people. You know.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
and you talk about transition and like big things happening tomorrow, Tyler. I'm going to become an official Mac user.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Is this like forced assimilation through work?
Oh, I've been pressured, right? I'm like one of 2 Dell users in the whole organization. And lately they came at me and said, you want to do this? And I was like, you know what? Sure, let's give it a go. So, but I've asked for the ability to keep the Dell as a crutch.
Yeah, it's like a safety net. It's like your blankie.
I don't even know.
I mean? Yeah,
I don't even know. I don't even know what this is going to do to me.
While you're working on the Mac, you can have the Dell just sitting in your lap, just be like a comfort dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So wish me luck. And then as a Cubs fan, come on.
Yeah.
Got gutted.
Yeah, it was a rough 48 hours.
That was a rough trade deadline. And and then the thing that hurt the most was the way KB went down. Because he went right at the deadline. We thought, okay, maybe we're going to keep Chris. Boom. And not only does he go, he goes to the freaking Giants.
Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow. I was really excited about the prospects of the Giants getting absolutely no one at the trade deadline. That was sort of what I wanted.
And Neg, you guys are going to battle down the stretch.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild next couple of months.
But your boy Scherzer delivered, huh?
He looked amazing, man.
Yeah, he did. And props to the Cubs. The Cubs tradees, you say? I don't know. People that just left the Cubs, like Rizzo, Baez, Bryant, everybody homered in their debut.
Did everyone? Yeah, I knew Rizzo and Baez did. So that's awesome, man.
And so the Freemans are going to Wrigley Field in August.
Yeah.
We thought, hey, let's schedule it when the Royals are in town. No offense to our listeners in Kansas City, but I thought Cubs Royals, we got this. We're decked out in gear, right?
Yeah.
We've got Bryant and Baez jerseys.
Yeah, which are collector's items now.
And now we're gonna go and probably watch us lose to the Royals.
Yeah,
but Wrigley. You've been to Wrigley.
I've been to Wrigley. It is a fantastic place, and I'm excited for you because that's one that's been on your list for a while, man.
It's been on my list, man.
Yeah,
so we're slowly making some progress on that bucket list.
I love it. Yeah. No, it'll be good. I mean, look, whether you're watching the Cubs with Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant and Javi Baez, or you're watching the Cubs beer league softball team, either one is a good experience in Wrigley Field.
It is going to feel a little like a beer league or an expansion team, right?
Yeah, right.
We'll see.
It'll be good, man. It'll be good.
What that looks like.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think, man? You want to let this guy in, or you?
Why don't we let Sergio in? We'll let him warm up the room for us, and we'll see where he's coming from.
Yeah, let's check this out. Oh, is he like on a hike? Whoa!
He's now like at the.
Am I at the Alhambra? Serge, welcome to the richest man in town. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Mike. Yes, that's Alhambra.
The Alhambra. That's right. Because, Serge, you're like a world traveler now, right?
More doing like surveillance to keep an eye on the daughter.
Okay. Well, welcome. Are you in Spain right now? No,
I go back, but I think you guys would enjoy the background.
Yeah, I love the background. Man. Love the background.
It's a lot different than the Alhambra that I have frequented in the Los Angeles area. I gotta be honest.
Back there, I thought we were done. We know who's right now. Come on, Mike, help me out here.
So, Serge, Tyler and I were making a bet before you came on, and it's so good to see you, man. So, tell me, you're an Olympic fan?
Oh yeah, dude, I'm all over it.
Right?
Yeah, man. Every 4 years, geez, you gotta witness that thing.
Yeah, Tyler Woods not having anything to do with it.
I haven't watched one event.
Not even the skateboarding?
I didn't even watch the skateboarding.
Oh man, last night skateboarding was amazing. Skateboard park?
Yeah.
Looks amazing. I love it.
No, Tyler, these skateboarders actually did tricks and landed them.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm thrilled for their expertise. And what's crazy is I have been kind of following it through the news, but I haven't watched any of it. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the female skateboard winners was 13 years old, right? Gold medal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy, man.
And there's a Chinese diver today that is 14 years old and was getting 10s on dives.
Yeah, look, I got to tell you, like a few years back, I went to a skate park with a friend of mine, and we decided that we pulled up to this pool. It was like the park had like an empty pool, and I was like, oh, we'll just drop in and tear it up like we did, however many years ago. I don't know. And in my mind, I saw that going real smooth. And then when the board shot out from under me, I landed on my backside. I was like, "Are you ready to go home?" And we just left. And and so the reason I share that is because I think that when you fall at 13, you're getting up a whole lot quicker than you are at 40. So, but that's awesome. I'm like I said, I've been following a little bit just in the news, and it's cool for these young people, man.
Yeah, that kid that won yesterday, I think yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
he was representing Australia, but he trains here in San Diego.
Oh yeah, okay.
And everybody does.
Yeah, well, I know, but
I mean, everybody, all those skateboarders live down in Southern California. I don't care where you're from. Everybody's down in LA, Southern California area.
We got to be someplace where you can skate year round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, that's cool stuff. It's not that I'm not a fan of the Olympics. I just haven't been able to keep myself up late to watch them.
Any chance, Mr. Carzoli, that you're a fan of The Bachelorette?
When Samantha was here, I was forced to be a fan. That's all I can say.
That's it. You got, okay.
I mean, what, are you guys fans of The Bachelorette?
Mike is a fan of The Bachelorette. He's desperately.
I'm looking for somebody. Maybe I'll do a
teammate, man.
Maybe we'll do a Richest Men in Town spinoff and have a little Bachelorette breakdown.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a little round table about The Bachelorette. So, yeah. So, Serge, what's been going on? What's new in your life, man? What's new in the world of the Carzolis?
What's new? Well, obviously, you guys know I just got back from visiting Samantha in Spain. Got to witness the ceiling. I mean, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy ride for those two, for that couple.
Yeah.
Number one, they go. I mean, they meet in Argentina, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're served together. And I think both of them were very successful. Joaquin finished his mission. But Samantha, although she only served a year, man, she hit it out of the park. She was a rock star.
And she came home because COVID cut things short.
She was one of those that they packed it up on a plane and sent them home.
Yeah.
So then when she got home, it was a trial just to get them across the border, getting married, and then deciding to go back to Spain and start living over there. And it's just, you can see the blessings that you get when you serve and when you're obedient. And right now, being blessed, man. And for them to have to wait to get sealed, and for us to be able to be there and witness that, it's like a dream come true. You always want your kids to do what you're doing now, because you're older and you learn from all your mistakes. But when they get to do that at that young age, and you get to witness it, and it's true, and the spirit is strong, and testifying that, man, you're blessed that your daughter got to get to that step.
Yeah.
From that point on, it's on them, but at least it's I can claim victory. At that point, I was happy. I was bawling like a baby, but
yeah, that's awesome, man.
It was an awesome experience to be able to go to Spain and visit them and enjoy the culture, man. I have a different opinion of Spain now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I just looking at your pictures the other day. I thought, man, I got to get my lazy rear end over to Spain, I guess, because that looked pretty amazing, man. Pretty amazing.
Well, and part of this podcast, Serge, is like talking to guys that might be a step or two ahead of us, and trying to glean from your experience. And I think Tyler and I are looking at what you're doing right now, thinking, yeah, our days are numbered, right? As we get closer to our kids making those kinds of foundational choices and decisions. So, I appreciate you kind of giving us a little glimpse into what that must be like.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been good. Life has been good. Other than going to visit Samantha, I mean, just seeing the growth that my son is doing. I mean, he's 21 now, holding two jobs, going to school, trying to get that EMT certification. I mean, he's on his way. He,
Yeah.
he's growing up. He's maturing a lot. So I'm a blessed man. That's all I can tell you. And you know, I how can I say that? I award that, or I attribute that to having good people around me. I had four good close friends of mine that went to the other side, but those guys were rock stars. They led by example, and they influenced me to be the guy that I am right now, and helping everybody. And you know, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff going. Yeah. Well,
Hey, let me jump in. Just thinking about where Samantha's at, because you said something that kind of got me thinking about some things that have been bouncing around in my head the last couple of days. And you said it's kind of on them now. You support and you love and you help and your example and you're nurturing and the blessings that they're receiving as they as they work on their own discipleship. And um, I think of a scripture. If we could jump into, I'm just going to read it. You guys are going to recognize it right away, but this is Helaman to his sons, right? And he said, this was his counsel to them. This is Helaman chapter 5, verse 12. And now, my sons, remember that it is upon the rock of our Redeemer, who is Christ, the Son of God, that ye must build your foundation. That when the devil shall send forth his mighty winds, yea, his shafts in the whirlwind, yea, when all his hail and his mighty storm shall beat upon you, it shall have no power over you to drag you down to the gulf of misery and endless woe, because of the rock upon which ye are built, which is a sure foundation, a foundation whereon if men build, they cannot fall. And I just think, I think of my hope and my desire for my kids is exactly that. Right. And Tyler, I don't know if you remember Jason Rogers, J Raj,
yeah.
when he was on, he talked about going through a season of challenge, a 9-year season of some struggle. And he referenced a talk that I've gone to a couple of times since our conversation together. It's from Henry B. Eyring, and it's called As a Child.
Yeah.
And in that talk, Elder Eyring references that verse, and then he follows it with this: it has never been more important than it is now to understand how to build on that sure foundation. Right. And I've been just thinking about, how can I, as a dad, teach my kids what that build on the sure foundation of Jesus Christ looks like? Right. One thing is to know the scripture. One thing is to maybe even know that scripture is true. But like, how do you apply that to raising kids?
Mike, great question. How do you apply it? 2 Sundays ago, I was in elder quorum class, and Brother Duncan, he was teaching, and we were going over the lesson. I think it was the Crucial Conversations. I don't know the exact title. Last conference. And
Love
what kind
that
of what's that?
I love that talk. That's a great one, man.
So we went over that talk, right? And he asked, what kind of talks do you have with your kids? And the comment I made is, and to answer your question, Mike, is not necessarily just what kind of talks, but you got to make sure your kids see you do the walk to walk. Not just because you get up and preach and you go and they see you studying your scriptures or you do your prayer, but your actions speak louder. If they see you serving, if they see you go over to the neighbor's house and help them, if they see you stop on the middle of the street helping somebody else, not lose your top when conflict arises. Those are loud words that they see, and they go, man, this guy has the gospel in his lives, and he's living it. I want to be like that. There were many times when Samantha was like a knucklehead, to tell the truth. She was growing up, but all I could do is, I got to be the same guy the God-loving guy, the one that serves all the time. So one day she can come to realize, you know what, Dad might be onto something, and I gotta turn it around. And again, thank God that she turned it around, and now she got to the temple, she got sealed, and now she's on her way. But hopefully, when she starts having kids, she does the same thing. She leads by example.
Yeah, that's a big deal, man. I agree with you 100% about walking the walk. So, well, let's do this. Let's pick this up. We've got our friend Chad Richards is going to join us too at the same time. We're gonna bring Chad in. Let's chat with him too and hear about what's going on in Chad's world.
So Serge and Chad, this is our first ever kind of richest men in town round table, right?
Yeah.
Of wise guys, right? Dr. Richards, how are you?
I'm good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
I set this up pretty quick, but I think
No, you sound good, man.
All
You
right,
sound good. You look like a doctor. I mean, man, things are
I
happening.
look tired like a resident.
So Sergio meet Chad. Chad meet Sergio.
Sergio, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So Chad, you're at episode 17 and Serge is episode 25. So you guys are
Okay.
founding fathers of richest men in town back in the beginning.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of an update from Serge. Chad, talk to us, man. Last time we talked to you, you were dressing to impress, and
it's
you
so
were traveling.
Cool.
You were traveling the country trying to find a home.
That's right. That's why I was like so excited to come on this show and talk to you guys and do this sort of like full circle update of when I was on versus what's going on now. Because when I was on the show, I was actually setting off on my first audition rotation, which you would do a month at these different hospitals and basically say, hey, I really want to work in this field. Please hire me, or whatever. And then the whole match process after medical school going into residency, it's almost like The Bachelor or something where you're trying to get the rose, and like, you're like, please rank me highly. And I promise to rank you highly. And we're not allowed to say where we're ranking each other, but wink, wink. I really like your program. It's really a bizarre system for medical school transitioning into residency. And so anyway, but I had to go out and like grind for these audition rotations / interviews because like I was an okay student in medical school, but I wasn't like knocking down doors with my board scores and stuff. I was like good enough, but if you were just like skimming through 1,000 applicants, like I would just be like lost in the crowd, so the only thing I could do is go out and do these audition rotations. And so I talked to you guys as I was headed out on my very first audition, and I ended up doing like 8 of these things, which was a lot of work, and I did 5 that were like a full month of auditioning, and then like a bunch that were like little 2-weeker auditions at different places, just traveling around, which was fun because it was like a lone man on the road, doing all this work. But
hey, that's fun for like 2 nights, and then it's like, all right,
exactly, right? Yeah. When I was thinking about it before, I was like, man, I'm gonna basically go on a road trip, and then after like 3 days, I was like, I want to go home. But yeah.
That's
so
like,
anyway,
hey, Chad, that's like we were talking earlier about the idea of an all-nighter sounds awesome, and then you actually pull one, and it's like, what am I doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking years off my life.
These rotations, you actually have to do a lot of crazy hours and stuff. You basically just like work like a resident, but I ended up going through and going to Ohio and North Carolina and South Carolina and all these different places. And then I ended up going to Phoenix, Arizona last. And that's the place that I ended up matching at. So I matched into general surgery at this place called Honor Health in Phoenix, Arizona, which was a program I really wanted to match at. It's a very, very good hospital for training. It's a hospital that works you hard. So it's a level 1 trauma center in like one of the busier areas of Phoenix, and they take all of the crazy trauma stuff that comes through. And so really good training, but I'm just so grateful that I found a place and matched, so now we're living in Phoenix. We moved from Florida to Arizona.
That's crazy, man. So you did, how long were you on the road doing the tryout kind of thing?
Yeah. So I was gone from like July or something like that, all the way through till January,
Yeah.
So,
crazy.
Just
man.
bouncing from place to place. And a lot of times I would only have like a day or two, and I would have to get to like another state and get settled somewhere. And I was just basically like living at the hospital at these places. For some of them, I had to do like an Airbnb or whatever, and make it work there for that short period of time. But it was good.
So in the middle of that, did you ever have a moment of, because I loved your story and I love your journey. I love that road. I love the haters, right? I love the people talking to you like this isn't going to happen, and those dudes, right?
Yeah, you're sticking it to that one professor, man.
Yeah,
I know.
that one professor, and you can flex a little. But was there a time where you had to dig deep and maybe remind yourself of why it is you're doing, why are you hustling, why are you working so hard, why the grind?
Yeah, I think that there was a lot of times where I had to stop and actually talk to my wife and dig deep, like with her too, and just like have this be like, first of all, like getting into medical school was like something you always wanted to do, and then like going into surgery was like something you've always wanted to do. And yes, this is so hard, but you're finally like doing the thing you always wanted to do. And so like the hard days, like my wife would always just be like, Chad, you have to remember that you are so lucky to be where you are right now. And like, if you don't give it your all, you're totally going to regret this and stuff. And so, it was a lot of digging deep. And honestly, it just seems like in this journey of life, like you always dream about getting to that one spot, and then you comes out that spot is an even harder grind, which is exactly what I'm going through in residency right now. Oh, it's brutal.
Isn't that true? That's so true. Brutal. I mean, that's so like richest men in town though, right? I mean, we climb one summit to see 7 more.
Exactly. Yeah. But you want to keep climbing, right? Like I still have this vision of, now for me, it's like post residency, working as a surgeon somewhere, like providing for my family, being like a strong member of the community, being able to help and influence other people and all this stuff. And in order to do that, like I have to like learn how to do this stuff. And medical school is good, but it doesn't like really train you. Residency is where you really get trained, and so it's just gonna be a lot of hard work, so you were talking about pulling all-nighters, and like I do all-night shifts where I show up at the hospital at 4 a.m. and then I go home the next day at like 11. And so I do these 26, 28, 30-hour shifts like every 2 to 3 days. I have to do that,
Okay, but here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing. My kid is talking about an all-nighter and they're doing Taco Bell and video games. You're like you're like saving people's lives.
Yeah, it's like traumas all night long. It's chaos, but it's like I said, like the program that I chose, I knew it was going to be a hard program to get through. There are programs you can go to where you don't have to work long 24, 30-hour shifts like that. There are programs you can go to where you don't have to deal with these crazy traumas coming in, people dying and stuff and all of that. But at the same time, like I knew that the people who came out of this program were ready for whatever came through that door. And I remember talking to my brother who, he's like my brother that's very churchy, and so we were talking about this and just being like, what is God trying to do for me and my preparation? And I just like, we felt like there's going to be someone who comes through that door someday when I'm out practicing on my own as a surgeon somewhere, that even if I'm living in a small town that doesn't normally see crazy stuff, and something crazy is going to come through that door and I'm going to know what to do. Yeah. And I wouldn't have if I didn't put in that work now, And so I don't know how or when, but someday I'm going to look back and be grateful that I suffered through this craziness.
So Chad, you're doing the hard work at the hospital, and meanwhile Allison's doing the hard work at home, right?
Yeah.
With the kids. How's she doing? How are the kids doing? And how does that look with your crazy schedule?
It's as much as this has been a slap in the face in terms of just the hours and the difficulty and the stress, like it's been that much for her too, and for my kids, because we bounced across the country very last minute. We basically just like frantically found a place to live, and now they're stuck here in this like new place, and it's 120 degrees outside, and they're just kind of like cooped up inside, just being like, what do we do now? You know, and but more so than that, it's like, I am just gone so much right now for these, especially the first year of residency. They call it like your intern year. The intern year is rough, you know, and so I am just all of a sudden, boom, I'm gone, as if I was like on those auditions again, where I was just completely gone, you know. Only like I do come home for little bits of periods of time. I basically am here for like an hour, and then I have to go to sleep. And so in some ways it's almost harder in that sense, because it's like dad's here, but we know that we really can't like do anything. And so she has just like, but she has like had to turn it on too, you know. She's just figuring out ways to make the best of the situation. She's applying for a job right now at my kid's school, you know, just thinking like, I want to be busy doing something, but I want to be close to my kids and stuff. So she's going to be, you know, doing a job with their elementary school, and, you know, she's working hard and making it happen. So I'm really impressed. There's some days where I came home yesterday, I was able to get out of the hospital at like 8 o'clock and then go meet them somewhere. And we were sitting down talking, and she was just like, oh yeah, my daughter's in, or my daughter, or like Lizzie's in this now, and she's going to this appointment, and I met with the kids' teachers tonight, and oh, we've got this activity at the church, and so-and-so speaking on Sunday, and all this stuff. And I just am like, I'm just completely oblivious to all of it because I'm so busy at the hospital. I was like, man, I feel like you're like living a whole nother life, you know. But she has to, you know, keep on, you know, putting in the effort and keep on grinding, you know. So
Dr. Richards, really quick, is the thing that you've always wanted to do still, now that you're doing it, is it lighting your fire? Is it still the thing that you've always wanted to do?
I think that it's like, every now and then you get the little glimpse of the thing you've always wanted to do, but there's also like so much other stuff that you have to do too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know,
I can only imagine. In my mind, I just came up with things that you have to do that you don't like to do, and it involved wiping. Probably.
Yeah, mine involved a bedpan. Dude, I don't know.
Yeah, it's so funny because I used to work as like a CNA, which was like a professional wiper, you know. And I was always like, dude, the higher you climb on the food chain, the further away you get from that stuff. But as a doctor, it's like you're wrist deep in that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, oh man. But at the same time, like it's I don't know. I think when you get to do the thing you've always wanted to do, like being in the OR, actually opening up someone's belly and just being like, I am getting to see and touch and change things that even this person will never see in their whole life. They will never see the inside of their body the way I am right now. You know, it's an amazing privilege. It's an incredible thing to actually be able to look inside of someone, to do something to save their life in a matter of minutes and stuff. But the fact that like that experience still is just, you come out of that and you're just like, wow, that was amazing. Even as an intern, you don't get to do that a lot though. Like I take care of like 50 ground level fall, broken hip, whatever thing that I don't get to do anything for. I don't get to do any surgery for them. I don't get to do anything for them, you know. And it's just like, and it's a ton of work. It's like all this paperwork and charting and all this stuff. And then like I maybe saw that patient like for a few minutes total, and I'm just like, man, I just put in like all these hours of work, and it had nothing to do with surgery, and I didn't get to do anything with that. And then all of a sudden something comes in that is actually the thing that you've always wanted to do, and it makes it all worth it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I love it, man. So let's do this, Mike. So we've got another guest that I want to introduce you guys to. I want Mike to introduce him to me too, because I haven't met him. Nolan Jenson, young man getting ready to do some stuff in his life. We want to chat with him for a few minutes, and I have a question I want to ask Chad, but I want to wait till Nolan gets in the room too.
Yeah, let's admit that. So we do have kind of both ends of the spectrum as far as children are concerned, right? Serge, you just married off a kid. Chad, your kids are little, right? And so we've got the spectrum, and now we're bringing in some youth. Nolan Jenson, welcome to the richest man in town. How are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I don't know if you feel it, but history is being made on the program, Nolan, right?
I could feel it, man. And I'll say this. I think Nolan has the deepest voice out of all of us. What's that all about, right?
That's probably true.
So Nolan, let me introduce you to a couple of buds, okay?
All right.
Let's do this guy over here. So Tyler Gould is the co-host of the Richest Men in Town. You've probably dreamed of meeting him someday. So boom.
Lots of people have. Yeah.
Tyler Gould. Sergio Carzoli is coming to us with the Alhambra background. And he is a former guest and friend of the program. And then Dr. Chad Richards is joining us from his first year of residency from hot Phoenix, Arizona. And so we've been spending some time kind of catching up with these guys. They're our friends, and life moves pretty fast. Nolan, you know this. At your old age, you can clearly understand the pace of which life moves. And so checking in every once in a while with friends to get an idea of what's the latest and what life is teaching them. So every time I see you lately, you're like, when can I get on the podcast? When can I get on the podcast? So your dream, your wish is granted, Nolan Jenson. Welcome to the Richest Men in Town. How does it feel? Is it everything you thought it was going to be?
Yes, I feel like I've finally made it here now.
That's right. You have, Nolan.
You've come from Little Caesars to boom, to here.
It's all downhill from here, my friend. It's all downhill from here.
You have peaked.
That's right.
So Nolan, I've been kind of keeping what's coming up. I've been keeping it your business. I haven't told anybody what's coming up. So how about you let us in on what life is going to be bringing you in the next couple of days? Hold on.
Before you reveal this, Nolan, I want to tell Chad and Sergio that Nolan we've helped his dream come true by coming on this show. Now you guys feel free to lob some questions at him too, not just Mike and I. All right.
Right.
Okay. So here we go, Nolan. Let us have it.
Nolan, what's happening in your life these days?
So I have received my mission call for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I will be serving in Tampa, Florida, for 2 years.
No way.
Yeah, super exciting. And so I start the missionary training center on Monday, and then I will be there for I'll be online through Zooms for about a week and a half. And I fly down to Provo, Utah, and I'm there for about another week, 2 weeks. And then I fly to Tampa, Florida.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I went to medical school in Florida. I just moved out here from like an hour outside of Tampa. And so I'm so excited for you. That's fantastic.
So Nolan, how are you feeling, man?
I'm excited. There's a little bit of nerves, but everyone has nerves when they make a big change like this. But overall, I'm excited.
I love it. Okay, so I think Sergio had a question for you, Nolan. Go for it, Serge.
It's more like a comment. I graduated from St. Leo University in Tampa, Florida. Although It's not about religion, but it's a nice little place. You might want to go just visit, and who knows, maybe make some friends there.
Definitely.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Nolan. You are committed now, right? For two years?
2 years.
2 years. All right. So you're committed for 2 years. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's dissect what a 2 year commitment means. All right. So you're headed out. You're going to be gone in the other side of the country, right? Is that as far as you can get, Chad? Pretty close, huh?
It's about as far away as you can get. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me about what led you to this point where you decided, you know what, this is what I want to do.
So I actually lived in Seattle, Washington for about 5 years. And up there are a lot of atheists, a lot of people who don't believe in Christ and don't have the same beliefs that I have. And so those 5 years, I spent trying to teach people what I believed and showing them kind of through an example of what the church has given me. And so I received a blessing, and it said kind of, go on a mission. And so I was like, sweet, I don't know when it's going to be. And then my sister ended up going on one about 6 months ago. And she's been a really big role model to me, kind of giving me the ups and downs, just keeping it 100% real, not holding anything back. And so right then and there, I knew, hey, this is what I need to do. I want to help people. I want to see what I can, make a difference in life in this world. So
yeah, when you get that email, walk me through how that felt, right? Because for those listening that are not familiar with the process, you meet with some folks, you go through a series of interviews, you submit an application, you do some medical documentation, those kinds of things get sent off to Salt Lake City. And in Salt Lake, there's a committee that assigns you anywhere in the world where the church is operating with missionaries, and then they send you an email, and then you open that email to know what the next 2 years is gonna look like. How did you feel as you had that experience opening up that email?
So I actually was on a flight to go to Hawaii for spring break with some friends, and I received a text saying, you can look at your mission call. So right then and there, my heart just sank. I'm about to fly 6 hours and not be able to open it. And just the anticipation all day was there. So we land in Hawaii, we went grocery shopping, we did this and this. So I waited about 8.5 hours to open my mission call. And I remember right before I opened it, I just felt super calm. And I just said, hey, this is a really special thing for me, guys. They're not members. They're not investigating or anything. So I said, hey, can we kind of take a moment here and just kind of soak it up? So I took a moment, and I just remember just feeling so calm and just like it was exactly where I needed to be.
So Nolan, have you thought about what Nolan in 2 years looks like?
Hopefully,
have you thought about his changes?
Hopefully 6 foot. I know you guys don't know me. Mike knows I'm maybe 5'8" on a good day. Okay. So hopefully 6 foot.
All right.
But overall, I hope that I'm going to be a better student. I'm going to go to college when I get home, and take those steps. So 2 years. Maybe a little taller, better student.
Okay, so let me ask. I'm going to do this. So Mike Freeman served a mission in Uruguay, right?
Uruguay. Hey, for the record, that is where Nolan's sister's original call is. So if COVID could ever go away, right now she's serving diligently in Colorado.
Yes.
So
nice.
When COVID dust settles, Sister Jenson is heading to maybe Uruguay.
Okay, so Chad Richards served in Brazil, correct?
That's right.
Sergio Carzoli went into the Navy, and he had a really unique experience there as well, which I know was super formative for him. So this is what I got a question for you.
And you're a Columbus, Ohio.
And I'm a Columbus, Ohio alum, right? So Sergio, I'm gonna throw it out to you first. Okay. I want you to put on for you, it's the way, way, way back goggles, right? And
not that way back. Come on, man.
And I want you to just kind of remember you going into the Navy and what you thought you were hoping to get out of that experience, and lay it on Nolan for us.
All right, so let's go way, way back, and it was August 8th, 1989, when I
way back.
Okay, that is way back. I'm sorry.
Hey, there's no internet, right? There's no internet in 1989. Maybe MTV.
Maybe.
Yeah, there were cars. I think were just starting right around then. So
yes, was it everything that I expected to be? I think it was harder for one sense that nobody that I was in a boot camp company was a member of the church. We had like close to 80 guys. We had one company commander, and he was yell profanities left and right. I mean, it was a military. Back then, they could yell and tell you everything. Nowadays, it's kind of soft, but we won't go there. But here's the thing, Nolan. That's where you really find out who you are and how strong your testimony is. How strong that foundation that you've been building all this time to get you to get ready to make that decision to go serve a mission. I didn't serve a mission because I'm in the Navy. I'm still in the Navy. I'm a civil service guy, 30 plus years, right? But one thing that I always rely on, no matter where I went in the world, it was on my testimony. And when you go on this mission for 2 years, this commitment is what I tell all the missionaries that come to my house. Enjoy those 2 years. Look at me. It's been 32 years now since I left home. I never went back home. I went to visit my parents, but I never went there. Tyler asked you, how are you going to be back in 2 years? You're going to be a different guy, I'm going to tell you. You're going to be a more committed guy. You're going to have a stronger testimony of the gospel. Yeah, you want to get 4 more inches? 6 foot is overrated. I'm 6 foot, don't worry about it. But you're going to be as tall as the clouds in your strength and the testimony of Jesus Christ. That's what you got to worry about. Yeah. So enjoy the experience, give it all you have and then some. And so that way you can always go back to those 2 years and say, you know what? When I was really down on the ground and I rely on the Lord, he helped me get through it. That way you can help somebody else get through the things they're going through.
All right, Doc, what you got?
I think I'm way back too, I guess technically. I don't know. I graduated from high school in 2002, so I was 2003 to 2005 on my mission, and it's an exciting time. Like I remember just being so excited to get out on my own and to kind of grow up a little bit, and also just to start taking more seriously things in the church, and to work on my testimony, but also to like learn how to influence the lives of other people in a positive way. But I also remember getting out there, even in the MTC, when you very first get out there on your own, how you have in your mind this kind of image of the experience that you're going to have, and it doesn't necessarily come out that way. And that's actually part of the growth that you experience when you go on a mission, is that if you grew up in the church, or if you have been looking forward to going on a mission for a long time, you sort of have this image of what it's going to be like, and then the days are long, and it's challenging and difficult, and you get a lot of doors slammed in your face and things like that, and you have to be able to work through those experiences, and that's where the growth happens, and there isn't a such thing as a growth that is easy, that comes easy, that just happens on its own. And the mission is such a good example of that, and then I remember very early on my mission, like while I was still in the MTC, this guy came and spoke to us, and he was just like, I want you to take into heart everything that happens while you're in the MTC and the flow of it, and the way that this goes now is going to be the way that the rest of your mission goes. So if you start out weak and you're struggling and you don't want to work hard, you're going to start out weak and struggling and not want to work hard when you get out there. And then that's how the rest of your life is going to go too. And so he was just like, this is such a pivotal moment for you to truly set yourself up for success for the rest of your life. And honestly, I mean, the guy was spot on when it came to that. For me, for all of my friends, for any of the companions that I ever had, I mean, it was just like a perfect picture of my whole life in this short period of time of 2 years. It feels like 2 years is a long time, but honestly, they always say the days are long, but the years are short. Like you have really, really long days, and then all of a sudden it's over, but it's like you can condense your entire life's experience and basically what you can expect of yourself moving forward into what happens during that time, and so that's why, like, looking back on that, I feel like it's such an important time for you to set yourself up for success for the rest of your life. It sounds like that's exactly what you want to do. You're already thinking about, like, I want to develop better habits. I want to come back a better person, a stronger person. I want to have a stronger testimony. That's perfect. You're totally on exactly the path that you're supposed to be in the attitude that you have going into this. So that's very good for you.
Hey, Nolan, can I ask a question? Earlier, we were talking to Dr. Richards, and he's going through residency, and we were talking about the grind that is, and how every once in a while him and his wife have to have conversations and remind themselves why they're doing this thing. Going into this, can I ask you, Elder Jenson, why? Right? Why are you? And your non-member friends have probably looked at this and said, "This is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Why are you doing this?" How do you answer that question?
I actually got asked that question last weekend. I was with a buddy, and he said, 2 years, like, that's a long time. You're going to miss out on college and all that. But something always comes to mind that my dad said. He said, sure, you'll miss out on 2 years of college, but the life lessons and the closer that you're going to become to the Savior is so much more than those 2 years that you're going to get in college. And so I just shared with him, and that came to my mind right when he asked, and I just said, I just want to help people. I mean, Mike, you've known me since I was 7 years old, see me grow up, and every time I just think I just want to help people. I like making people happy. I like making them smile, and I know how hard life can be. So I like to kind of, lift that a little bit of burden off their chest. So if that is, watching someone's dog, or bringing mail up to their house or pulling in their trash cans, anything like that, anything that I can do to just make life a little bit easier. So that was one of my biggest reasons on going on my mission, is just so that I can help people and show them how the church and the gospel has changed my life so much and made me just want to keep going each and every day.
Yeah, there's help, and then there's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
You're going to do things, and you're going to help people learn things that will permanently relieve them of burdens and guilt and weight that they've been carrying around. And it's gonna be hard, but I think that why, great answer, by the way, but I think that why is something that you're gonna want to have at the ready.
Yeah.
Maybe record it in a journal somewhere, because I guarantee you there will be days when you'll look at your companion and be like, why are we doing this? Right?
Yeah, and be open to it evolving, right, Mike? I think that's the thing, right? Sometimes we start out with this what is our purpose, and then as we get into it, that purpose evolves and it grows. One of the things I really loved that Sergio said, and Chad as well, but Sergio said, it was when I got into the military, it was totally different than what I expected it to be, and Chad, I think you would probably maybe you could tell some stories about getting into medical school and that being totally different than what you thought it was going to be, and sort of the journey that you've been on. And I think that the mission, I think I'm pretty, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty safe in saying that it's going to be totally different than what you think it's going to be, and that's a good thing, right? Because I think when we get to the place where we can embrace change and not shrink from change, because I've been in both places, right? Where I've turned away when things got tough. And then over time, I've got to the place where when things change, I can embrace it. Right. And we get to that place where we can embrace it. That's when real growth starts to happen. I think about Sergio, you talking about your journey going through the military, and you guys have talked about that a lot of times over the years, and sort of that the change that it was, and you embracing that change and coming out better for it. And Chad, you talked about your journey, with us, just on the path to becoming a surgeon, and how that looked different, and embracing the change and kind of, preparing yourself for some hard times, because the reality is, right, hard times are just look, we all know this, right? Nolan, this, hard times just keep coming, right? Yeah. It's just life. And,
but the beautiful thing though about that though, is like change, everyone wants it. No one wants to go through the process. Like that, like the anvil, like the blacksmith and the anvil, and just, tempering that steel and banging on that metal. Like that's how we get strong.
So let me ask you this, Mike.
When we have that opposition.
So Mike, how do you embrace change?
I think number one is you got to be comfortable with uncomfortable. And I think when you get to a spot where, and Nolan, you're going to jump into this thing, and then there's going to be a place where you're going to feel like it was new and you were learning a ton, and then you're going to get to a place where you feel comfortable, and that's where you have to find another gear, and that's how you have to disrupt yourself, and you have to step into these new spaces and be okay with not knowing the answers, right? And I think that's where we're going to allow God to do what he needs to do. Because, I think it's kind of cool that we're talking to Nolan tonight, because honestly, I feel like the story of David and Goliath, right? When David was presented with this challenge, he went back and realized that the Lord had prepared him with earlier successes. So Nolan, as you stand right now on this threshold of going into your mission, the Lord has prepared you for this. And some and some may be right at the front of your brain, but some may be buried a little bit. And when you get out there, you're going to be put in situations, kind of like what Chad was saying. Right now, he's doing crazy stuff and he's wondering how is this going to make sense? Later on, it's all going to be able to make sense. And Nolan, you're going to be placed in a situation where you may have this challenge or trial, or somebody that needs your help, and you're going to see that the Lord has prepared you exactly for that moment to be of service and to be of help. And then the amazing thing is after Florida, you're going to go live your life, and you're going to find that Florida prepared you for the things that we're going to be coming. Like Serge, the Navy prepared you. Those experiences allowed you to kind of propel yourself forward as you relished in those experiences.
Yeah. And the cool thing about that too is, right, if we start connecting dots all the way around, right? Like Mike's time in Uruguay, right? Mike's time impacted me, right? I was nowhere near that, but those experiences impacted me. Sergio's time, right, in the Navy, and Sergio and I got to sit next to each other for 5 years, right? But 4 years, okay, for 4 years, Sergio knows it down to the day. 4 years impacted me, and the same thing. Like I think about the time that just the couple hours that we spent, Chad, talking about your kind of journey through school and everything. I mean, honestly, when I think about grinding through hard times, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is talking to Chad, and his time pushes me through. So my point is, right, Nolan, you're going to go to Tampa, you're going to have these experiences, you're going to do these things, you're going to grow, maybe not to 6 foot, but hopefully, but you're going to grow in other ways. Right.
Yeah.
And the reality is at some point in time, you're going to be somewhere, and those experiences that you had in Tampa that were sacred to you now become somebody else's. And it's just this cool thing, right? The way it pushes forward.
Hey, Nolan, can we be 100 with each other right now?
Oh, of course.
All right. And to the older gentlemen in the room listening, try to put yourself in the shoes of an 18, right? Of an 18-year-old. As you look ahead, Nolan, at this adventure, what are you afraid of?
I think what I'm afraid of most is going to be probably transfers. I think my first couple of transfers might be hard. So my sister, she got transferred to a brand new area, Greenbook, which is where she just has nothing, no like layout of how her day's going to look, no members, no idea what the area looks like. And on top of that, she had to train someone. She became a trainer. So talking to her through that kind of made me realize, hey, I'm going to be given these things. I might become a trainer. I might become, a zone leader. I might become whatever. And it's going to take a little bit to get used to and understand how to play that role to the best of my ability. And so I think that is what scares me most. And of course, being away, not having my parents right there to be like, oh, hey, how do I, cook this, or what do I, preheat whatever oven to, something like that, something easy. So stuff like that, just learning to kind of grow up and, take on more responsibilities.
Well, and I think that the transfer thing too, I got to tell you, you're going to love these people like you've never loved people.
And let's be honest, there's gonna be some transfers you're like, dude, this can't come soon enough.
Dude, my first area on my mission, I was there for 8 months. When my transfer came, I was like, oh, it's time. And you know what's funny is that
dude, 8 months, you got to start writing to president saying, hey, remember me?
I did, dude. I wrote what's funny is that I served 8 months in my first area, and I had 0 baptisms in Brazil, which is brutal. Like unheard of. So I would get messages from like the mission president. And the other thing too, Nolan, about your experience and everything that you're looking forward to, one of the things that I feel like I forgot to mention and talk about was just that you're going to have these mentors in your life that you're going to say, I came to this place because I needed this mentor in my life. Your mission president, the zone leader you have, the bishop at whatever ward you happen to be serving in, you're going to have these mentors come into your life, and you're going to be like, man, that's why I'm here. I needed this person in my life. And, I remember this mission president coming to me and just being like, Elder Richards, I just gotta check on you, man, because you like clearly something's going on here. And I'm just like, man, I'm trying, and then they're switching my companion like every month or so, and they're just like, I don't know what's going on here. And then when I left, I went to a couple different areas and definitely grew after that. And I said, you know what? I said, President Tobias, I need to go back to that first area because I know can find someone and baptize someone in this area. Please just let me go back for 2 weeks. I'll find someone. And that's what I did. Like right toward the end of my mission, he let me go back for a couple of weeks and work. And and baptized 3 or 4 people or whatever.
That's what I'm talking about.
He sent you back.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he literally let me go back. And so anyway, look at the transfers. are tough, but yeah, there's going to be some times where you're just like, whew, I need to get out of this area or whatever.
Right.
And I think that the setup of doing a mission like that, I think that that's honestly so good for you, because not only do you get to go to a whole new part of the country or part of the world or get out on your own, but then from there, it's like you have to learn how to dig in fast, make a difference, and then be able to let it go. And I actually like heard this story about like this famous potter, and how like he's like, you know, you have to learn how to build this beautiful pot and put in all this work to it, and then break it at the end of the day, and be able to just let go of it, or to be able to just like give it to someone and let it go at the end of the day. And you do that as you transfer through these different areas and stuff. You go, you make the most impact that you can while you're there, and then you say, okay, it's time to move on to the next place, you know. So anyway, I think that's a really good thing.
You know, and I gotta ask you, play any sports?
Yeah, so I played lacrosse and golf in high school.
Okay, what was your feeling when you played lacrosse for the very first time?
I was nervous. I was nervous. You know, I brand new playing with kids who played for 5-6 years. Felt like, you know, I had a lot of catching up to do.
Okay, you wanted to live up to the expectation, right? Like,
Yeah.
to be on par with them.
Mhm.
See, right now we're giving you advice about what you fear the most in the mission. You're already ahead of the game. You're already saying, well, I'm afraid of transfers. And these guys who serve missions already told you, hey, well, this is what we did. Write that down deep inside. When the first transfer comes along, it's all, but maybe the first time you're going to meet your new companion. And from that point on, it's the same work. Work together, serve the Lord, on the members and the investigators. If you keep that in mind, no matter how many transfers they give you, you see the end goal, which is to preach the gospel and be a good example and serve to others. You can have 1,000 transfers, man, but you be okay because you're doing the right work.
Love
You
that.
kiss that golf game goodbye, brother. I just played with you. Dude can swing them. That's the first thing to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Just be okay with it. Put it on the altar of sacrifice and be like, you know what? I'll see you in 2 years. You might get an opportunity here or there to play, but those days are gone.
Yeah. That's for sure, man. That is for sure. Well, I'm excited for you, Nolan. I think good things are coming, man. And so I do have to ask you this, right? Before we let you go, I have to ask you this question, Nolan, because you don't get off the hook coming on the richest men in town without getting our final question, right?
Right.
And you are going to do some things, right? I mean, you are our youngest guest. You are jumping into the deep end of the pool, and you're going to go do some stuff. But what does it mean to you, Nolan Jenson, to be considered the richest man in town?
Wow. Okay. So to be the richest man in town, you know, I think back, first thought that comes to mind, I think back to a talk that I gave right before I moved back to Reading. And it was the topic was, where can I find home wherever I am? And so I came to Reading and I visited, and I just felt the love, and all the memories came back from when I was a kid. And as soon as I moved back, I started feeling that same love. I started, you know, getting more involved with church and getting more serious with the gospel. And that's led me to where I am now. And so to me, to be the richest man in town means to have that love and to have those role models and examples in your life to push you to be better and overall, hopefully not make the same mistakes they make.
I love that. So here's the thing, Nolan. You have a date with us in a little over 2 years, and we're going to ask that same question again, and we're going to see how that sounds again. And I mean, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of very similar to what you just said, but I'm super excited for you. I know that you're going to do great things, and there's a lot of growth ahead of you, and that's an exciting thing. You know, the whole reason your friend Mike and I started this podcast was to talk about growth, right? How do we grow, and how do we become better, and how do we become the best version of ourselves? And you are diving into one of the things that's going to help propel you on that path. So
Yeah,
excited for you, my friend.
Yeah, Tyler, I think so many things come to my mind. You know, Nolan, as we meet with men that we admire and women that we admire, so many times we ask, when were you your best self?
Yeah.
You're about to come up on a season, at least, where the opportunity is there to be your best self. And I loved your answer to our trademark question, because it was actually answered in pretty true to Richest Men in Town style, because what people don't recognize when they come on the show, you said that to have role models around you and to have examples around you, I just need to turn that on you and let you know, Nolan, that people are watching you and they're watching your example and role model. And of course, I mean younger kids, right? I've got a son that loves hanging out with Nolan Jenson, and I'm so proud of that friendship, and I'm so grateful for your example. But there are people, faith is faith. And when someone demonstrates faith, we look at that and we notice it. Old, young, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Amen.
Right? You're dedicating 2 years of your life to serve people you don't know, because you know God and you know his son, Jesus Christ, and you want to help people.
Yeah.
That's going to light up a room, man. Everywhere you go, that's going to light up a room, and that's going to draw some attention. So just do that, right?
Yep.
What if we told you that the easiest thing is to love, and that really any kind of service in the Lord's way is just loving people? I think we overthink it sometimes, right? So yeah, put a name tag on, right? Get set apart with blessings that are going to make Nolan Jenson so much better than regular Nolan Jenson, and then just go love people. And you're going to kill it, man. You're going to kill it. God's going to give you the exact experiences that you need. And I couldn't be more proud. I couldn't be more proud to be a friend of Nolan Jenson. So I'm excited for you, man.
Thank you.
Nolan, thanks for being here, my friend.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Kill it in Tampa, right? And we
say
got
hi to Tom, and say hi to Tom Brady and Giselle for me.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm telling everyone, Tom and Gronkowski, those are my first two investigators.
There you go.
It's gonna take a lot of work on those two clowns. I tell you that right now.
Yeah. Hey, if you get into Tom Brady, Tyler Gould's got a message for him.
Oh yeah, it's called.
Hey, I have a message for myself, so I have to share first before Tyler can.
Yeah. Right. All right, Nolan, man, be good. All right.
Have a good night, Nolan.
Thanks for joining us.
That was great.
That's crazy. That's funny, man.
You guys remember what it's like to be 18?
That's an exciting time, Yeah.
It's
cool to be out on your mission and get to do those first experiences of training people and, being a mentor to a younger missionary and stuff like that too, I think
absolutely.
But it's such a laboratory,
those are some pretty unique experiences.
Yeah, it's such a laboratory. You grow up, and maybe you grow up in the church, maybe you don't, but you hear things about prayer and faith and fasting and the power of the word of God. And these things they mean something to you, but you're young and you don't necessarily have a depth of experience. And then you meet with people that are having challenges and trials, and these very things solve problems.
And you know what?
Heal hearts and marriages, and you're just baffled, right?
And I do want to say, because 3 of us here served missions. Sergio went into the military, and sometimes when Sergio and I have spoken in the past about his experience, I can't help but think, like, to me that was the ultimate, right? Because look, I'll be honest with you, I served a mission, and I was lucky to be with good missionaries that helped me and mold me. Do you know what I mean?
It was still hard.
And it was still hard. And I think about Serge, and you I want you to weigh in on this a little bit about going into that environment that you went into, because we talked about that, and sort of looking around and going, oh, I don't have a dude next to me who's gonna say, hey man, maybe we should do this good thing today.
Well, yeah. Number one, when you go into boot camp, right? I mean, you 24/7, they tell you what to do, what to breathe, what to eat, what to sleep. I mean, they tell you everything, right? But at the end of the day, man, it comes down to your testimony. When I was growing up, I was that priesthood Peter. I mean, deacons grown president, teachers grown president, priest advisor. I was it. When I told my bishop I wasn't going, I kind of broke his heart, tell you the truth. So when my brother, Victor, he was serving in the bishopric at that time, he announced that Sergio was going into the Navy. These old guys, Simon Zuniga, he goes, okay, you're not going, It's okay. But everywhere you go, you keep your 2 feet inside the church, you will be okay. To this day, I live those words, man. Have my feet planted in the church always, and I will be okay.
Yeah.
Nolan is going to go to the mission field. He's going to face challenges. I mean, he's going to probably get with some companion that is a knucklehead that don't want to serve, that they just went because mommy and daddy told them to go. But that's when Nolan has to dig deep and he's got to convert that companion. He's got to convert himself first because he's going to be by himself.
Yeah.
Get on his knees and say, I'm doing the right thing for me and the Lord.
Yeah.
And then grow from there.
Well, and I think when we kneel down in our family prayers, brethren, and we pray for the missionaries throughout the world, maybe Nolan Jensen's face will flash in front of us, right? And we'll think of him in hot and humid Tampa, Florida, right? Trying to get in there and do work, right? And just help people.
It's going to be hot and humid. I spent my best summer camp there in Orlando, Florida. So
yeah. Hey, Chad, we're gonna let you go because you tell me you don't walk around in scrubs all day, right? You're not that guy.
No, I don't walk around in scrubs all day. I came straight from the hospital. I'm very good about getting my scrubs off normally, man. Because I don't know if you guys are dealing with the COVID stuff very much, but in Phoenix, it's pretty bad actually. Yeah. And I've got a lot of really, really sick COVID people in the ICU right now and stuff. And I need to get out of my scrubs, to be honest. It's pretty bad. So
can I ask this? Can I ask this before you go, Chad?
Yeah.
What's life teaching you right now?
Oh my gosh. I've had some pretty trying experiences lately, man. And it's so good that you guys messaged me and were like, hey, come on the show and catch up with us, because like there's been some brutal experiences these past couple of weeks, even like this week, like I'm sure that this happens in like a lot of different, work experiences or maybe even in the military and stuff. But like, I've had some experiences where like I was up all night with a patient who was trying to die, and I'm just like a junior doctor. Like I just barely graduated medical school. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm trying to do right by these people who are, really scared that are like, either they've been shot or they've been in a terrible car accident, or they're just like, really badly injured or something really bad's happening to them. And you come in and in the morning, the senior doctors show up and immediately they're just like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And what's the matter with you? Are you trying to kill this guy? And blah, 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 and it's soul crushing. It hurts so bad, to give everything that you possibly can. And then to be told that like, you're just like dog meat for the things that you've done and the way that you've tried to help and all this stuff. It's very hard. It's very stressful. And life is teaching me that all of those experiences, first of all, the other people around me, like this is the first thing that happened. It's like one of my senior residents because residency's 5 years, and 5 years is a pretty long time. And, they, after 4 years of medical school, you got to go through 5 years of residency, and then not to mention the 4 years of undergrad. Like this is a long road. And it's like one of the 5th year residents came up to me. She put her arm around my shoulder and she was like, I went through that exact same thing at the very beginning of this month with that doctor. And she's like, and I'm such a better person because of it, And so my point is that I'm learning that the people around me who want to help me have truly experienced the things that I'm experiencing. And that gives me a lot of comfort. I think of like Nolan with his going on a mission and stuff, and he's going to be around senior companions that have gone through the same kind of struggles that he's going to be going through, or, these different challenges that we have in our life. And I've never had challenges like what I'm having right now, to be honest, but it's teaching me that this is what Heavenly Father needs me to go through, so it's,
I love it, man. Hey,
Yeah.
Chad, if there's anybody I know that can grind it out, that's got grit for days, it's Chad.
Right?
Richards.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
I don't know.
look,
I'm so grateful for good friends like you guys. I think it's so important that you take the time to mentor people as much as you can. And I think that the fact that you do this with a mindset of wanting to be better yourself, to not say, I've reached this level and I have this wisdom to impart, but how can I learn from you?
Yeah.
And how can you learn from me too? You know, so that's awesome. And I really hope to instill that into my life. So thank you.
Well, hey,
Well,
go be dad, brother.
you.
Go be dad.
I
Thanks
will.
for your time.
All right.
Thanks, Chad.
Take care of you guys.
Keep in touch.
All right, we'll see you. Okay, so I've got this question for you guys. All right. Now that we've just heard from the
Oh, it was fun.
Dr. Richards. Yeah, that was fun. I was reading an article the other day, and it was about successful people. All right. And it said, and Chad made me think about this as he was talking. It said that successful people can do the things that they hate. Like they are willing to do the things that they hate, knowing that those things are going to make them better in the long run. Right. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts? Chad made me, as he was talking, I'm just thinking some doctor's berating him, right? As he stayed up all night trying to help some patient, but he's willing to do that, right? He's willing to take that criticism and that painful.
My question is, what's the ratio, right? Like, I think that there's a ratio, like even Chad said, every once in a while, I'll have this glimpse of something else. And I think that successful people probably are long range people.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of that infinite game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that we can, well, I mean, I think that you can tolerate some of those things because I think that sometimes life gives you the experiences that it's not all going to be rainbows.
Right. I mean, you think of like these Olympians, right? I'm sure these guys are getting up at the crack of dawn to make it to a pool and swim however many miles, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that argument on talent we had a couple of episodes ago. I actually believe that excellence is when it's not, you don't view that as a grind. You view that as like, I love me some, right? If you're a swimmer, you love yourself some pool. I'm assuming.
Sure. I think you probably do, but I think that there is the grind, and you have to recognize the grind, right? I mean,
yeah.
I think that's part of it. And the reality is, to be able to look at that and look past the pain of it and say, hey, this is going to help me get where I need to go.
So I'll ask you this: and I think I heard it from you guys on one of your previous podcasts. I'm not sure, but I heard it somewhere. So how do you measure success?
That's a good question.
To me, I mean, it could be a gold medal for the Olympics right now.
Sure.
It could be winning or finishing an Ironman. I knew two guys that were doing 10 miles a week. I mean, doing that religiously. I mean, maybe that's success for them. But I think success, and I think I'm quoting again where I heard it from is if you give it all you got, all your best effort, you succeed. I mean, success is, if we're going to compare to other people, how they rank, how they achieve their goals. Yeah, but on an individual basis, is if you give it all you got and you know that you gave it your best effort and it yielded the results that you wanted, and sometimes not the results that you wanted, you're successful because you left it all on the field. You left it all there.
And I think my answer can be related to that. But I think for me, in my old age, maybe wisdom, I'm thinking that success for me is influence.
No, it is for me.
I had lunch with a guy today, and it was pretty direct. Like, why aren't you working with kids anymore? Was the question, right? I'm a county office guy now. I'm admin. I work with people who work with people who work with kids. Let's be real, right? And there's some student service programs now that we're working with, but and I said, I get that. I get that. That's my heart. That's my passion. I believe that's kind of one of those things that I get, that maybe even comes easy to me. But what if I work with someone who works with 300 kids, and that person, because of my interaction, goes and does something amazing with 300 kids. To me, success is influence.
That's
And if we do
interesting.
it right, and if we do our best and we put it all in, I think that that's where that influence, I think that that comes as a product, right? Comes as a fruit of it.
Yeah, I think, and you and I have had that conversation about influence. I think it is important. It's not at the forefront of my mind, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe it should be, I don't know.
You influence people. At the beginning of this conversation we had, I had 4 guys that went to the other side, right? They passed away. To me, those guys are successful because what they did in my life is only a snippet of what they did on many other people.
Yeah.
And those other people are able to influence other people because of the example they saw in those 4 guys.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
And it's almost like they live on.
Yeah. And that was the whole, right? We talk about Nolan being a missionary and having these experiences with these other people, and he's going to come home and he's going to share experiences, and now people are going to have part of Tampa, right? Because they're learning from what Nolan learned.
Well, so we talk about Nolan's situation and success and influence. Tyler, I don't even know if I've broken this down for you and had this conversation, but Saturday, I called the missionary who taught me the gospel.
That's awesome, dude.
I called him. Now you have to understand, when I went and found missionaries, I had already received answers to my prayers, right? I went in knowing some things and I knew there were some steps to take. So it was almost a formality. But Scott Anderson was the guy wearing the name tag who taught me the gospel. He was the one that invited me to follow the example of the Savior and be baptized, right?
What year was that?
1994. So imagine this Scott Anderson, he's hanging out on a Saturday, driving his 8-year-old to a soccer game in Linden, Utah, and he gets a call. It says Redding on it, right? I said, hey, is this Scott Anderson? He's like, yeah. I said, this is Mike Freeman. He's like, man, how do I know that name? Let's talk 1994, Redding, California. He's like, oh my goodness. So we have a moment. We're talking, what's your life? What's your life look like? And I just start pouring in like how richly blessed I am because of the things that he taught me, right? And because of the steps that I took with him. And then the cool part was, I said, hey, am I on speakerphone? He's like, yeah. I said, what's your boy's name? He said, Drew. And I said, hey, Drew. And he's like, yeah. I said, your dad's my freaking hero. How about you be a good boy and you do the things that he asked you to do? Because I did the thing he asked me to do, then it changed my life.
wow.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, right.
So that's influence. That's
you can't
success.
undersell influence, right? I think it's huge, because I think that each of us could sit and compile a list of the people that have influenced us, right?
I think that the scary thing, though, the fear is somebody's walking around thinking they haven't. And they have. We just aren't very good at letting them know it. Right? I don't know.
Amen.
I don't know where Scott Anderson was that day that I called him. But after our conversation, we both left on higher ground.
I think that's a huge thing. I mean, I think if we want to embrace, this idea of a rich life, I think letting people know their impact in your life is a needed component of that life. I don't think it does you any good to just sit on that and say, man, this guy Scott Anderson, boy, he really changed my life, and never pass that on. Right. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had that conversation with people that have impacted me and just said, hey, I just want to let you know that this time when you said this thing, it changed who I am. Those conversations are still rattling around.
Yeah. I can't imagine God doesn't want that to be shared. Like, I think we need to be quiet and we need to be pondering on those things, because I think he'll let us know who we need to reach out to or who needs to hear it.
Look,
yeah,
we've talked about this before. I mean, that's part of my Sunday morning routine, is you sit and think about people that are needing somebody or that have helped you. Right. And I just let them know. You got to let them know, man. You got to let them know. Success to me, my friends, is having some kids that are happy and healthy and moved in the right direction. For me, that's the list right there.
Well, and Serge can tell you from where he's been, right? That's probably a pretty good definition.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Serge, what's life teaching you these days?
Life is teaching me to slow down, enjoy the moment, enjoy your friendships, because you never know when those friends are going to be there, and you never know when you're going to make impact on somebody's life. So just slow down a bit and enjoy life. We live in a great country of ours, and we need to appreciate each other. We need to be more loving towards our neighbor, more patient with each other, and really, really think of how we can impact somebody and help somebody out. Not just all about me. It's what can we do for somebody else? It's like, man, Christ-like, right?
Yeah.
What can I do for somebody to make their load a lot lighter, a little bit easier to carry? If we do that, we're gonna be happy. I'm so happy you guys invited me. I mean, I never went on a mission. I'm sure I'm gonna go. My wife tells me I gotta go, so I gotta go. But Nolan, dude, I'm so happy for that kid. My nephew is about to go to where is it? Not Chile, not Argentina. Where's in between? South, in between.
Uruguay,
No,
Paraguay.
Paraguay. He's going to Paraguay in October.
That's awesome.
And I mean, Nolan is pretty much shipping out in a couple of days. The impact these kids are gonna have is immeasurable. One word that kept coming up, and I wanted to tell, but you guys got on a roll. I wanted to tell Nolan, it's like he's gonna go retrofit that testimony with those experiences, man.
Yeah.
Something is gonna break, but he's gonna replace it with a stronger experience that is gonna strengthen that testimony much stronger, that is gonna carry him through the rest of his life.
I love that thought.
Yeah.
Retrofit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think of when I'm hanging out with Nolan, I think of there's a quote from Joseph Smith, and he's talking at the organization of the church, and he prophesies and basically says we're like a babe sitting on a mother's lap when it comes to the destiny of this church. And I think of Nolan eager and ready to roll, and he's like a babe on his mother's lap as far as what God has in store for him in his life.
Yeah.
And just how much he'll be blessed for the service that he provides in Tampa. I mean, I'm an old man, and I recognize blessings that come as a result of me deciding to go serve some strangers in Uruguay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was fun.
That was fun. It was good times.
Sir, it's always a good time to catch up with you, and props to your family and Samantha. You know what? And maybe we'll put a gift registry in the show notes, and we can get some richest men in town to drop some Amazon or something on her and wish them well. That's awesome. That's an amazing, wonderful experience, and I think every time that happens, that's a miracle.
If there's something I wish for both of you guys, is to witness the sealing of your kids to their loved one, and just see that commitment for the eternities. It's not just for this life, for the eternities. Just it's a whole different ball game. I mean,
I'm a sap. I have no idea how I would even get through that.
It's all right. Let it roll, man. Just let it come down.
Embrace the cry. That's Sergio. That's our motto, man. We just embrace the cry.
Yeah.
Do it.
Oh, it gets ugly if you try to fight it.
Yeah, you don't fight it.
Yeah,
I was in a meeting one time, and someone got up and they were speaking before me, and they were in tears, and they said, "I'm an ugly crier." And I got up right after him, and I said, "Luckily, I don't have that problem." So. It's been fun, Sergio. Appreciate you as always. I mean, you're a good friend, and I can't say enough good about you, and I'm just glad that you are connected to my good friend Mike Freeman. It makes me happy to know that you guys are connected as well. So
yeah, hanging out with you guys makes me want to just get in the car and drive 12 hours and get some tacos with you.
Get some tacos with us, man.
Gotta do that.
Yes, I know. Next time Mike's down here, we're gonna have an RMIT alumni taco dinner.
We'll do a tour stop or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's do it. So
You guys are the best. Keep up the great work, guys.
Hey, you keep going too, brother. You keep going. Good to see you.
thanks, Serge. Have a good night.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good idea, Ernie. A toast to my big brother George, the richest man in town.